think I finally found my ideal device. After trying out so many different devices, so many different phones, dumb phones, I finally found the device I've been looking for. And it's thanks to you guys. So many of you have reached out and told me I need to try this device because it has everything I've been looking for and then some. Now the device is the TCL Nxtpaper 40. A few of you are using this as your personal device, and thank you again so much for telling me about it. Every time I hear the name TCL, I think of the last BlackBerry hardware devices, and it gets me a little bit sad. Otherwise, I haven't thought much about this company, and when all of you kept telling me over and over to check out the TCL Nxtpaper devices, I finally caved in and took a deeper look. I decided to purchase the TCL Nxtpaper 40 secondhand. I got this device literally for 60 euros. So cheap, and a lot cheaper than my Cat S22 Flip, which I hate with a passion. Now the specifications on this device, of course compared to a major flagship, make it look like it's a low-end Android device. And that's fine. I hope people think that and don't buy it because I'm going to buy the world supply of it. All jokes aside, this device is worth more than the price, in my opinion. As somebody who is very visually impaired, I have an optic neuropathy, and I really struggle to see most screens on most days. I use a lot of e-ink devices to get my day-to-day tasks done, but e-ink has its downsides. For example, the annoying refresh rates. I can get past it and adjust the refresh rates, but sometimes when it's blinking, I have a huge sensitivity to things that are blinking, and this can trigger migraines and a lot of other issues that I don't want to deal with on a day-to-day basis. So when I saw that this device had an e-paper-like display, I was kind of iffy because I thought it was literally e-ink, but it's not. It's something so much better. I don't know why more companies haven't jumped on this bandwagon, but TCL has created the ultimate device as far as displays are concerned. This display looks at first glance just like a matte display. There are other devices with matte displays, and that's great, but TCL goes a lot further with this display. In fact, they have created a technology with multiple displays on top of each other, which enables the device to go into the Nxtpaper mode. Now this mode is the major selling point of these devices. If you activate Nxtpaper mode, you will get a color mode option and a black and white option. When you activate this mode, it looks just like an e-paper or an e-ink device. It's shocking. It's amazing. Honestly, I couldn't tell the difference between my other e-ink devices, except for one major positive. There's no refresh rate. In fact, the lowest layer display, of course, is a standard LCD screen. But with the additional layers on top, TCL was able to implement a software that does give an e-paper or e-ink display without the negative flashing. Honestly, it's life-changing. I generally go with the black and white e-ink option because I'm already colorblind and it puts a lot less strain on my eyes to have to decipher colors. So I use it in black and white 24/7 and I love it. There's no ghosting, there's no flashing, and this device works fantastically for typing, if I need to watch content, if I need to make calls, video calls, everything works perfectly. And this device was only 60 euros. How was it so cheap? This device display goes beyond just being an e-paper or e-ink imitation. It actually filters out blue light, and having that matte display but a glass display makes the device really nice to touch. You can hear your fingers run across it like any other matte display, but it feels so much more high quality being a glass display. It doesn't show fingerprints, which is great. And since it isn't reflective, my eyes have not been strained at all in 2 weeks. This is the first time I've ever been able to use a device consistently without having any negative eye impacts on my day-to-day life. This is literally life-changing. Now, the other bonuses of this device, of course, is that it has 2 physical SIM trays and a micro SD tray. The SIM tray itself is quite long, but it's really nice having 2 trays for physical SIMs and 1 for the micro SD. As many of you know, I have migrated off of music streaming services, and I'm also in the process of de-Googling my life. So being able to carry important documents, all of my music library, and everything on a micro SD that I can easily transfer to other devices has been game-changing. Even though this device comes with a stock 256 gigabytes, which is huge, I like having the capability of putting a micro SD that, again, I can easily put into different devices, and it just gives me a little bit more freedom. This device has a huge display, might be a downside, but in turn, I've been getting used to it for reading and being able to see documents and scan documents a lot easier. Generally, I've been using a Books Palma as a companion device, and honestly, this device has kind of encompassed all of my companion devices into one. Another slight downside is that, of course, it is running its own proprietary Android. So basically, it's running Android 13, but TCL has put a lot of software on top of it, of course, to be able to use the Nxtpaper technology. I would have liked to put a custom Android ROM on this device, but the bootloader is locked, and it's not quite possible to be as de-Googled as I would like it, but I've gotten pretty far with it, and it's working fantastic. By removing some of the Google services, of course, the battery life is amazing. This device has a 5100 milliamp battery anyways, but when you get rid of all those Google services, it really barely consumes any battery life, kind of like a real e-ink display. I went from consuming about 50% battery per day of usage down to about 15 per day, so I can go multiple days without even charging this device, which is amazing. Another bonus is that this device does work with a stylus. I actually purchased the TCL case, which comes with a stylus. It is not the best stylus scenario, of course, not only because it is a matte screen, but the screen is not as reactive as maybe other e-ink tablets. For example, I have a Supernote Nomad, which I use for writing. I would never use this device to replace that. It is just not as reactive because there are too many layers between the top screen and the display itself. Some other bonus features that I wasn't anticipating was the physical headphone jack. As we all know, I love a physical headphone jack, and having that option is always a definite plus. This device comes in 2 different colors, so I have the white variant, which if you move in the light can reflect multiple colors. There is also a midnight blue option. So you only have 2 color options, which I don't really mind the color of the device. Again, I've been keeping it in this big bulky TCL case that is black, but the case itself feels really good. It doesn't show fingerprints. Again, it's not slippy. It's also grippy by having the stylus option in there as well. What I would not use this device for is for content production. Again, it's a low-spec Android device, and that is evident with the cameras. I would never use the cameras on this device to film or create any content with, but again, it's there if I need it for video calls or impromptu photos or something that's not really important, but it's very handy for accessibility applications such as Seeing AI, Be My Eyes, or any other applications that I need to use day to day in order to make my life more accessible. After going through so many e-ink devices, regular devices with matte screen protectors, I can safely say that this device is the ultimate device for those of you looking for a device that is good on the eyes, good on the wallet, and just does an amazing job. It is very underrated, this device, and I'm definitely going to look into other devices in the TCL Nxtpaper lineup. For example, a tablet or something else that I can incorporate to replace the other devices in my life that are difficult to use. I think this device will go perfectly well with the other phones that I'm going to be using in my life. For example, my sleek phone, which I use for business primarily, and the upcoming Light Phone 3. I will be very curious to compare the Light Phone 3's display to this display and see how they work together, which one is different, and how the technologies compare. Would you consider using this device? I hope if you do, I hope that you can find the device, because apparently some of you have told me it's difficult to find, especially in the US. I highly recommend looking at secondhand options. You can get the device for a very good price. Thank you so much for watching, and see you soon.